find you a bucky?
It's not a bucket. It's a Hilux.
iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting. iDiski Times, co.za. Now, the Betway Premiership season started on National Women's Day in South Africa. The two teams that were front runners for the league title last season, Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, on Women's Day failed to take the full 3 points. Sundowns 1-1 against Chippa United, and now the game that we've just watched was Sekhukhune winning, taking all 3 points against Orlando Pirates. And the season started on Women's Day, and we're starting the 30th anniversary of the Premier Soccer League. So maybe after 30 years, just like Manning Rangers did at the beginning of the Premier Soccer League, maybe we might have a dark horse winning the league. Who knows? But the league, unfortunately, is a marathon. It's never won on the first weekend. Orlando Pirates, unfortunately, at Orlando Stadium, losing their game, or Sekhukhune winning their game away from home. Lindo Pep, what did you make of the game, sir?
Yeah, voodoo team for Orlando Pirates, Mr. Nkeo. But I think I think I did great in the last video. But one thing that I forgot in the last video was to say Happy Women's Day to all the South African women, more especially to Umama Ozale, Lindo Pep. To that wonderful.
That's not the only woman in the world, but okay.
Yeah, for sure. But
that's the most important.
The most important. Umama Ozale, Lindo Pep. I want to say Happy Women's Day to my mom, to the mother of my child as well. Happy Women's Day to you. But other than that, Mr. Nkiko,
baby mama namankazana. Sabulisa bonke amankazana nabantu ababhinqileyo emhlabeni wonke. In my language, there's umntu intombazana, a girl, and then there's umntu ongumama, a person who's a mother, and then there's umntu obhinqileyo, a person who's a woman. So there's this different description. So it's specifically Women's Day. Akusiyo usuku labomama. Maybe a mistake could be made because umuntu ongumama is a person who's given birth to someone. It's a Women's Day for all women, whether or not you've given birth to someone. Yeah, so happy Women's Day to all the women in South Africa. I think it was in the 1950s or close to that when they decided that they will burn down their passports. Maybe that's a commemoration of that in South Africa, to say that our men are being restricted to move around during the apartheid government, and they decided that we are not going to tolerate that. And it was women, because of course the superstructure that was apartheid could not confrontationally, it would make bad news globally for them to shoot and kill black women, and some white and colored women were participating in that. They decided that we are going to do it, take it upon ourselves, because it would be awkward for the government to shoot at women. So the women marched to the union buildings in Pretoria to say, do away with the passports. There's many of these holidays, of course, I can mix and match one for the other, but I think that one of the most important contributions for women was that moment to say that we are not going to tolerate this. But anyhow, Orlando Pirates and Sekhukhune, what did you make of the games?
Yeah, Mr. Nkeo, voodoo team for you, Orlando Pirates. I think we saw second round of last season where Super China makes that mistake, cross Sekhukhune United wins the match under Eric Tintler. There's something that Eric Tintler has, Nkuleko, that I think I value as much. I think there's a problem, maybe I think it has to do with management, because Umchita, to be honest with you, Nkuleko, he knows how to plan, prepare tactically. And you see a coach based on a midfielder chooser. He knows how to prepare for big teams. Look, no, Coach Rulani, when he was still there at Mamelodi Sundowns, he stole a defeat. He stole a win, against the Mamelodi Sundowns.
They would have been invincible that season.
My God, there's one thing you identify, you can tell that he was probably a defensive midfielder. He knows how to organize a team. Tactically, he's very sound, Eric Tintler. Because he identified pressing traps. He knew that the Orlando Pirates wants to build out from the back. And who are the players to identify? If we check at the first 10 minutes, a critical phase of the game, they did not allow Sipombule to be on the ball. They did not allow Unduli to break a line. And credit to Linda Mtambo, Figo Kasi, unbelievable match from Figo. And he sacrificed himself. That's why they say Mkulego, the most successful teams are led by players. And Figo today, Mkulego, Tati initiative, now must play in the team. Sometimes the coach, I relax in terms of my tactics. I will take initiative as a captain. I will not allow that boy to play today. I will always be under pressure. Magal receiver under pressure because I know his style of play. Mbule doesn't like playing negative. He would receive a phone 10, a phone forward pass, but Ulinda denied them that. And as well as without the ball, the work rate between that front two people, because I number 10. They really played a 4-4-2 today. They made sure man to man for the first time. And Utinta, that's what I'm saying, is an incredible planner. Because he knew that, okay, Orlando Pirates likes attacking a fullback. Not Dion Hoto. Dion Hoto counting was Cash. Cash is a winger that doesn't cross the ball. He's a winger that plays almost like a midfielder. But first half, the performance was shaky from Cash. But to Kele to Begailanda and Mashilo on the right hand side. To Chrobla Begabaniki balance, reference. He doesn't move away. in between the two centre backs. He stays there and he protects the ball. Ufigo helps him in terms of assist. Udlala ngeinsimbi as you. He understood that today, angidinga team. Team is more of a ball playing, deep lying playmaker. Who do I need? I need someone also who to consolidate, more especially without position. Utesh, I think he played unbelievably well. Umkhize as well, I think was very solid in midfield. They hardly made a lot of mistakes. Football is a game of...
You're describing, sorry to cut you, you're describing maybe how Sekhukhune won the game.
Yeah.
But I dare say that they won it because Orlando Pirates missed a lot of opportunities. Now, I'll give Sekhukhune credit that they deserve... Okay, the point is that you can win football matches, although... The other team hits the post 3 or 4 times, although by the time you scored, you spent 45 minutes every man behind the ball. And I think that that's the context that is missed sometimes when we talk about these games. I'm talking now to someone who's watching, maybe they didn't see the game, that Orlando Pirates were not brilliant, but they were good enough to get a 1-1 draw, good enough to even steal a win.
Yeah.
But of course, there were some things that Sekhukhune did right in this game. Let's focus on Orlando Pirates now. We were impressed by them last week. They were playmaking in the midfield. Sihle Nduli, Sipho Mbule, and of course Maswanganye in front of them as well. We had a problem with what will happen to Apolis and Umufugeng because they kept on switching, and there was a discomfort there. Now it continued to this game as well. Talk to Orlando Pirates and how they played.
Yeah, Nkulego, to be honest with you, if you're going to speak about tactics, Makona Manju Orlando Pirates, I think it's very too early. I think there's still more games that we need to see. For me, I think the biggest conversation about the Orlando Pirates are the 15 games that they're going to play at home. Already they've lost 1. Now they've got 14. The team that they're competing with won 15 games last season. When you win 15 games, you're already guaranteed 45 points. There's 90 points to be played in the league, Mr. Nkeo. And in those games, we can count those games. Orlando Pirates only has a few games that we can say they're difficult. It's probably Sekhukhune away. It's both the Mamelodi Sundowns games. It's both the Kaizer Chiefs games. It's the Stellenbosch away. For me, this season, when I'm looking at Orlando Pirates, if they genuinely want to compete, there's 75 points there that can be really, really guaranteed for them to compete for the league. If Mamelodi Sundowns has raised the standard, I also want to challenge the Orlando Pirates fans to say, in all the 15 games, the 14 games that are left, they need to make sure that that stadium is full, packed. Then now we can give that responsibility to the players to say, humble perform and going. Because now the fans are playing their role.
Yeah, but Orlando Stadium is always packed. It might not have been paid 100%, but it will always have 60-70%.
We need to be honest.
And also it's difficult. Even forget that Sekhukhune won. Like I always think that matches are irrelevant sometimes. Forget that Sekhukhune won. I think that number 1, Orlando Stadium is very difficult.
Yeah.
Number 2, there's something to be said about Tinkler and his motivation against big teams.
Yeah.
Cape Town City were relegated and so on and so forth, and they were not good enough against smaller teams, but whenever Tinkler was playing against big teams, he was always raising his A game as well. So there's something to be said about that. But where I want to go at is the fact that Orlando Pirates, it's not so bad. I don't think losing that game is such a bad thing. But I do get your point that if you're fighting against Sundowns, you're going to have to win as many games as possible.
Yeah. And you can identify. For me, I think when I'm watching Orlando Pirates, I want to see a team that has control. I can already identify that he's a coach that wants to play with speed. Quick in the final, but they need to create better opportunities. They need more opportunities, because with better opportunities, you will finish. For me, another thing that I really have to identify is certain players need to come to the party. Another thing as well is don't change the team. Maui coach, Ungena, in your first season in the job, you don't change the entire team. And Mang Pegi game, I felt like this looks like a new team. And for me, what I was expecting Orlando Pirates was continuation. I understand Gunama injuries as well, Mr. Nkeo. But the right back boy, I've seen enough. I've seen enough. I've seen enough, man. I've seen enough. I don't know. He
could improve, but maybe the point to be made is that he's not better than Van Rooyen or Shandu or Libitz or any other right back at Orlando Pirates who's quality. They are quality, but Mashulane maybe should be back at Baroka to learn his game.
Another thing, Mr. Nkeo, is the substitutions from the coach. You had players that played unbelievably well in the last 2 years. Ukabelo Dlamini. You need to keep the confidence, the camaraderie of the team. The certain players, for me, you play the player that knows how to break lines, player with vision, with imagination. Immediately, must start to consider. You bring in that player and you've got him on the bench. You've got Ukabelo Dlamini. Why it took him longer to bring him on the pitch? Because for me, certain players that are coming into Orlando Pirates, there's 2 things as Obayan Zuguti, banga compete at times. They need to compete amongst themselves first. And already the fact that Apolis is walking into the team, this Mariko boy that comes from Lentuza walks into the team, already you are killing competition. Already Abu Kabelo, they come into can he create competition amongst the squad first? Because he's got an unbelievable squad. And for me, that's the first foundation. So that kill momentum of the team. There's certain players like Ingisho Mr. Nkeo that did exceptionally well for Orlando Pirates. Already really. No matter how good the boy is, I can see he's not the same. And also, Nalento Kankota Yokohama, the boy that is still at Pirates, I think I'm shy a little bit. It's affecting his confidence because let's not lie, in football, Bakona Bantabak to say, hey boy, you were supposed to be gone by now. But the boy doesn't look the same. Also, bringing, Apolis. Apolis was supposed to compete on the left. Unomremi, Unoshibelebele that you brought in, play them on the right. Can they compete for that right lane? Because now we are confusing that attack line. Also, I spoke about it last week. Radio needs to play with a lot of arrogance as a number 9. He's got the body, Mr. Nkeo. Can sometimes second half receive ball. Magal close, close, use your body. One quick turn, pass ball anything. He doesn't have that all the time. We receive from Pala basic. So Orlando Pirates needs to make a decision. They need a goal scorer. Somebody who's not going to need 3-4 chances to score. Somebody who needs one chance, finish. Because Urilo on the left, we are guaranteed goals. Police needs to come to the part. Utito also needs to find himself in this system. Because for me, he's playing too far away from the goal.
So who's that goal scorer for Pirates?
I said last week they need to get a goal scorer.
Is it someone they have inside, or is it someone that they have to go and look for? Which is, of course, South African football. There's not too many goal scorers. So do they look within? Let's look at the options for Pirates with goal scorers. Which also means that you are also saying you don't believe in Radio Pane.
Yeah, Radio, to be honest, I think I'm the biggest advocate for Radio, man. But I think that Gangan has been given an opportunity and he's not showing fun. And they've got Umakhopa, who always performs for them. I think they do have a goal scorer. It's lack of trust. But I understand where it comes from. If you don't score, then what? Because in big games, sometimes Maui striker, you need to help us with certain things. That's why evidence will always get ahead of these strikers. But for me, they do. In my opinion, if Orlando Pirates needs to be a really serious team, you go and get to Percy down. Lalisa is a false 9. I think he's the perfect player now at Pirates. And also another thing is free. He's dynamic, he can play off the ball, and Orlando Pirates needs a striker like that. Because already no really, Apolis, they can interchange the La Papambi. Because sometimes they're too stagnant. And they can't create space for themselves. And they need too many opportunities to score. And Percy is experienced, well-traveled, and I think he would fit. I think Orlando Pirates fans, he would fit in like a glove there. He's played for big teams, played for Sundowns, he's played for Al Ahly, where I understand the pressure. So I think he would fit in as a glove. Because the boy Mbutuma, yeah, we've given him credit to national team, Simbona, first touch, whatnot, so forth. But ever since we came, Pele, you don't need a lot of games. We've seen Unkot. He didn't need 5-6 games to show. Umfukeng didn't need that. Umbogazi fitted like a glove. That's why massive scouter and scouting in South African football needs to be about talent. Lento le you're a good person, you train very well, you're a professional. You need to be talented. And for me, when I'm watching some of these players, it's not a matter of it's a matter of quality. It's a matter of quality. And this is the season where Orlando Pirates needs to be a serious team. And they need a goal scorer. And the goal scorer is available. It's free. Pass it down.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much to Lindo Pep. That's Orlando Pirates against Sekhukhune. I will say this again, that we played the opening games of the season on National Women's Day. The two teams who were supposed to win the league did not win on this opening day. Now, of course, it's a marathon. There's a long distance to cover with South African football. However, we also have a 30-year anniversary in 2026 by the end of this current season in Premier Soccer League. And at the beginning, the first year of South African football, in terms of the Premier Soccer League itself, historically, it was won by a team that no one thought of. That was Manning Rangers. So I'm summoning all the football gods and the strength to say that someone different, perhaps, someone different, someone we're not looking at to win the league, we shall find out. iDiskiTV, iDiski Times was source betting. For breaking news, go to iDiskiTimes.co.za.
Shapunjan bafowethu igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiskiTV. Tanko.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niazi bafethu, I'm a coach for life. They are back in winning ways. Please, subscribe.